Hello everyone. Today we shall start with biology, chapter number 1, reproduction in lower and higher plants. We have seen types of reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction in our previous class. Today we shall continue with the most important chapter for your exam, which is structure of anther and TS of anther. Now to begin with, in order to understand TS of anther, let's know where the anther is located in the flower. Okay, the sequential events that occur in sexual reproduction are grouped into 3 stages. The first one is pre-fertilization, second one fertilization, the third one post-fertilization. Now, there is an activity to label the parts of flower in the given diagram. I give you 3 minutes time. Label the parts of the flower in the given diagram. I hope everyone have a pen and paper and the textbook PDF open in front of them. Take a pencil, notebook or paper, draw the diagram and label the parts of flower. I had also informed you that this is one of the important diagram for your 11th. You already had this, and even in 12th standard you will be having this diagram. So I have already informed you in the previous classes. I hope everyone knows to label the parts of the flower. Okay. Fine. Now let's see the parts of the flower. If you have forgotten, have a glance at this diagram. Style, stigma and ovary forms a pistil. Anther and filament forms a stamen. Petals are corolla. Calyxi are sepals, ovary and stem. So of this, which is the male part and female part of the flower? Okay, stigma, style and ovary, which is also called as pistil, is the female reproductive part of the flower. It is also called as gynoecium. Anther and filament is called as stamen. It is male reproductive part of the flower. It is also called as androecium. So, androecium is the male reproductive part of flower, whereas gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower. Male is called as stamen. Female is called as pistil or carpel. I repeat, male is called as androecium or stamen. Female is called as gynoecium, pistil or carpel. Okay. The female reproductive part of the flower is called as gynoecium. It is made up of stigma, style and ovary. The male reproductive part of the flower is called as androecium. It is made up of stamens and consists of anther and filament. Okay. Now, let's move and see where exactly the anther is located. Correct. Anther. So today we shall see the structure of anther and will study tiers of anther. The male reproductive whole of flower is called as androecium. Look at the spelling. ANDROECIUM. If you have to remember the spelling of and, 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 R, OECIUM. Androecium is made up of stamen and anther. Look at the anther. Androecium, the individual member of androecium is called as stamen. It is made up of anther, connective and filament. So stamen is made up of anther, connective and filament. As I'm taking you through the slides, you should be able to learn it, try to revise in your mind and store in your brain. Okay? Now, structure of anther. An immature stage of anther is represented by group of parenchymatous tissue, and the first layer of anther is called as epidermis. Now, this anther are diathecious. Diathecious. Di means two. You can see this diagram which is there on your right hand side. I have shown it by a black line. So it can be divided into two halves. That is the reason it is called as diathecious anther. Diathecious anther. Spelling: di means two, THED, cious, COUS. By heart the spelling along with me. Now this structure of anther, if you look, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 means tetra. Tetrasporangiate. This black circles in between are the sporangia. How many sporangia you can see in this diagram? 4. So it is tetrasporangiate. So the first point, structure of anther. Anther is made up of, anther is the male reproductive whorl of flower. It is called as androecium. Individual member is called as stamen. Stamen is made up of anther, connective and filament. Structure of anther. An immature stage of anther is represented by group of parenchymatous tissue and epidermis. Anther is diathious. It has 4 sporangia. Hence, it is called as tetrasporangiate. Diathious and tetrasporangiate. This tetrasporangiate consists of pollen sac. Now, anther can be monoecious, as it could be diathious. It can also be, in some flowering plants, it can also be monoecious. If it is a monoecious anther, how many pollen sac will be there? There will be 2 pollen sac. So, if it is a diathious anther, there will be 4 pollen sac. If it is a monoecious anther, there will be 2 pollen sac. The heterogeneity, that is differentiation, arises from the hypodermal cells. This hypodermal cells get transformed, or you can say this hypodermal cell transforms into archisporial cells. Heterogeneity means differentiation. So, anther can be differentiated. Heterogeneity. Okay, it is heterogeneous, more than one type. Okay, and this could be divided into, it's been further divided into hypodermal cells, which are transformed into archisporial cells. So you should know that the anther are heterogeneity, that is, it could be differentiated, and this differentiation arises from hypodermal cells which are transformed to archisporial cells. Now this archisporial cell divides into inner sporogenous cell and outer parietal cell. Okay. Now, this inner sporogenous cell gets further divided into sporogenous tissue, and this tissue forms microspore which are tetrad. The outer parietal layer is the anther wall layer of the anther. That's the anther wall. So let's have a quick recap. This archiporeal cells are been divided into inner sporogenous cell and outer parietal cell. Now try to recall this inner sporangious cell is being further divided into or further forms inner sporogenous cell, further forms sporogenous tissue, and then microspore tetrad is formed. The outer parietal layer or the outer parietal cell forms the anther wall. Now quickly revise along with me. What are archisporial cells? What are archisporial cells? The hypodermal cells gets transformed into archiporeal cells. Archiporeal cells gets divided into or forms sporogenous cells and outer parietal cell. Inner sporogenous cell forms, try to recall what it is. Correct. Sporogenous tissue which forms tetrad microspore. Outer parietal cell forms the outer anther wall. Okay. You can draw this chart in your notebook. So, the wall of matured anther consists of 4 layers. First one, epidermis. Second one, endothecium. Next, middle layer. Next, tape tip. So the 4 layers are epidermis, endothecium, middle layer and tape tip. Okay, so epidermis, endothecium, middle layer and tape tip. Now let's see one by one. Epidermis. It is the outermost protective layer made up of tabular flattened cells. Look at the outermost layer. So what does this outermost layer does? What is the function of epidermis? Protection. How are the cells made up of? Tabular flattened. So epidermis is the outermost protective layer made up of tabular flattened cells. Next one, endothecium. Look at the spelling in the diagram which is on the right hand side, written in red color. Endothecium. E-N-D, end, O-D-C-M. It is a sub-epidermal layer made up of radially elongated cells with fibrous thickening. Sub-epidermal layer made up of radially elongated cells with fibrous thickening. So what it is made up of? It is made up of elongated cells. The one which is drawn below the epidermis in red color is endothecium. So how are they? They are elongated as compared to epidermis. Epidermis, how was epidermis made up of? What it was made up of? Tabular flattened cell. This one is made up of elongated cell. It has fibrous thickening. Next, middle layer. Middle layer is the inner layer to endothelium. So below endothelium, middle layer is present. Now this middle layer is thin walled cells. It may be 1 or 2 layers. Okay, so the first one was, let's have a quick recap and try to remember your answer right with me in this video lecture itself. So epidermis made up of tabular flattened cells, function protection. Endodermis made up of elongated cells with fibrous thickening. Middle layer made up of thin walled cells. It may be 1 or 2 layers. Now this middle layers disintegrates in matured anther. As the anther starts growing, it is the middle layer which dehisces. Dehisces opens up, breaks, and the pollen are being released from here. From the middle layer, when the anther matures, it is this part of the anther, that is the middle layer, disintegrates, that is dehisces. That means it gets broken and the anthers, the pollen grains are released. Next one, tapetum. Innermost nutritive layer of the anther wall. How do they get nutritious? It is tapetum that provides nutrition to the anther wall. So tapetum, where it is located? It is the innermost layer of the anther. Function, nutrition. Okay, so tapetum is the innermost nutritive layer of the anther wall. It is layer, L-A-Y-E-R. This is a typo error. Fine. So we have seen the structure of anther. Structure of anther consists of 4 parts: epidermis, endothelium, middle layer, and tapetum. 2 lines of each of these 4 parts and function. Okay, you have to draw this diagram. This diagram is very important. At times in exam, this diagram comes for 2 to 3 marks. And along with the diagram, you have to write down the explanation. Next, now this innermost nutritive layer of the anther wall immediately encloses the sporogenous tissue. This tapetum encloses the sporogenous tissue. This sporogenous tissue are nothing but the microspore mother cell. Where are this microspore mother cell located? In the sporogenous tissue. Where are this sporogenous tissue? In the tapetum. So tapetum, first thing, where it is located? Innermost of the anther wall. Function, nutrition. What happens to tapetum? Immediately it encloses the sporogenous tissue, and this sporogenous tissue are the microspore mother cell. Look at the diagram. You need to draw this diagram. which shows epidermis, endodermis, middle layer, tapetum, connective, sporogenous tissue. See this diagram, which is there in your textbook. Okay, connective, that connects the two parts of the anther. Anther is diathecious. So this connective connects the two parts. So connective, epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, tapetum. tapetum के अंदर क्या है? Sporogenous tissue. Immediately, this microsporogenous tissue, it is immediately encloses the tapetum. Or you can say immediately encloses the sporogenous tissue, and that is called as microspore mother cell. So we have this diagram. Please draw this diagram and practice this diagram. So this was about the structure of anther. Structure of anther, TS of anther. This diagram represents TS of anther. I hope students you have understood TS of anther, and I hope you will be able to draw the diagram and you will be able to write the answer. Question is, explain the structure of TS of anther. Write and practice the diagram. Thank you, students. Stay home, stay safe. Take care.